I don't really know what we're gonna talk about today. Actually, let's talk about dating. I'm so sick and tired of nonchalant people. I'm tired of this, like, epitome of, like, oh, let's pretend like we don't care, because the human, like, experience is to feel like you care and feel like you are loved and to love other people. And I feel like everyone's so scared of getting hurt, which, let's be so for real, like, usually it stems from, like, out of high school relationships, college relationships, first relationships. But, like, that's the point. Everyone gets hurt, you know? You learn from it, you see what you like, you see what you don't like, and you move on. You yearn for a new connection. Obviously, make sure that you're, like, healed. But, like, you know? Hold on, let me put on a shirt. Give me a second. I'm back. Okay, you're currently balancing on some Eco Gel right now. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I feel like the whole human experience is to love and be loved, and to learn from your mistakes and grow. That's my personal take. You can disagree with it. But I feel like in this generation of dating, don't judge me for what I'm about to do, okay? I'm using a broken glasses case and some water for my beauty blender. It works, okay? I don't feel like going to the bathroom, and it keeps the mess contained. And it soaks it up. And then I can just... Okay, anyways. And then, like, the whole... I don't care. I will double text someone. I don't care about the whole, like, oh, they haven't responded to me in 10 minutes. Like, I need to wait for them to reply. No, I don't care. I will double text. I will triple text. And it's not like, I'm not, like, controlling. I don't care about the time. But it's like, if I'm really excited about something, why would I contain my excitement until I'm no longer excited about it to tell someone that I like, you know? And then I also don't understand the whole, like, situationships thing. But I don't understand the wanting everything in a relationship but not having a title. Because to me that just sounds like you find comfort in a person, but you don't want the commitment of a person. You don't want to grow with them. I mean, you obviously may grow with them, but you don't want the actual commitment of having to deal with them. You can cut out at any point. Which, like, even in a relationship you can cut out at any point, you know? If it's not working for either people, then you can cut out. But that's, like, part of it. You go through the ups and downs together. I don't know. I don't know how to do the in-between dating, because it's like, you try to make boundaries, there's not set boundaries, there's not, and you can't even, like, at least in my opinion, it's like you can't even get mad because you're not even really together. Okay. Anyways, I also think that standards have gotten lower over the years. It's surprising because social media standards have gotten so much higher. You're dating based on, like, social media standards and what you want and what's, like, realistically for the majority not attainable. Like, you're not gonna get, like, a bouquet, like, this big from someone that, like, is just trying to provide for their family. Which I prefer thoughtful gifts rather than extravagant ones, but I know a lot of people aren't like that. And I'm not saying I'm different, I'm better than anyone, no. I'm just saying my personal take on it. But I do think social media has killed romance in that way, to where our expectations are higher but our standards are lower. Does that make sense, or is that a paradox? And I've seen from, like, the woman's perspective, oh my god, he opened my door, that's, like, so crazy, which I've been guilty of this too. Bare minimum, like, stuff like that, where, like, oh my gosh, he respects me. That's the big one right there. It's like he doesn't just want you for your body, because we live in a very lustful time, I think, because of social media, because it's so attainable. Like, think about it, your grandparents maybe saw 2 baddies in their life. Now we're getting hundreds on the daily that you can see at any point. And now with, like, OnlyFans and stuff, you can see everything. Nothing's kept a secret and it's easily obtainable for a small price of $19.99 a month. And then a lot of people also don't like whenever I say I think men actually have it worse when it comes to dating right now. That's a very hot take and it's not very popular. But my opinion on it, look at this little curl. You can't, I don't know if you can see it on camera. I also don't know if it's focusing correctly. But I think men have a harder time dating. And I don't know why I'm rushing to do my makeup. I think I'm nervous, y'all. But I think it's because women have so many options, right? Especially because of the internet. Women have so many options. It doesn't matter, you're reaching every demographic. You're a baddie, you're not a baddie, there's something for everyone, right? How do I explain? So they have all these options, but from their top 1%, so like looks, money, whatever else they want, they can grab that, right? And I think men have gotten easier to achieve. Like, you know, whenever like it was a big thing, I was born in 2003, but like I remember my mom, like growing up, she'd be like, don't be easy, don't be this. So like easy was like a big word in like the 90s, 80s. And honestly, I think men have gotten easy because they'll take literally whatever. A man will sleep with a curvy piece of cardboard. Not all men. I want to say that. Every time I generalize something, I don't mean all men. It's a generalization. Okay, obviously there's gonna be people outside of that. But I got lost in my routine. Versus like men, I feel like they have a lot less options because women have so many options. Which is like, they have more women on this earth than men, so it kind of makes sense. I'm running out. But then from their top 1%, they're also, with their top 1%, they're competing with a lot more men than a woman would be dating with other men. Because most men focus on themselves. What I've learned, most men will focus on like their finances, their family, what's most important to them. A girl's the last thing on their mind. Versus with women, or at least me personally, I have priorities, I keep track of my priorities, but like I want to be yearned for, I want to be craved. So like obviously I put more effort into loving someone because I don't want to make that general statement of like, nah, I take it back. Most women are like that. They want that connection. So it's like, we'll make time, we'll move things around. Sometimes we won't prioritize our sleep. Also too, I'm genuinely curious, what is it like for men to have a crush? Do y'all have code names and like giggle to your best friend about it? I'm genuinely curious. Because I know, like, I do that. I have a code name for everyone I've ever been with. And every time they would piss me off, best believe that code name was in the group chat. That's another thing we can talk about. Okay, this is a mistake I've learned personally, and I think a lot of other people should talk about it. But basically, just because you are mad at someone, don't go telling your friends all your business about that relationship. Controversial take. But because then your friends just end up not liking. Also, I don't have eyebrow, so I've been using this palette. I don't have eyebrow pomade. Ooh, because then your friends don't like them, and it creates tension in that relationship. So like, don't go telling your friends everything wrong that's happening. You know, after the fact, that's what I do. I wait till after the fact. It took me a long time to learn this, actually. I don't think you should sit there and tell like every single little issue. Like obviously big issues, things that actually like you need help on communicating. But every little annoyance telling your like best friends or your closest friends or your girlfriends, they will end up hating your boyfriend or hating your girlfriend. Then when y'all are doing good, they are kind of skeptical about it, or they're kind of skeptical, like let's say then you break up, they also have seen all your mistakes. Like my friends at least are very unbiased, so they've also seen all my mistakes. So then getting into a new relationship, they're like kind of skeptical about that too, which is something that took me a long time to learn not to do, because I thought I was just looking for help and I was just looking for perspective. But then I did some like soul searching, and I wasn't looking for perspective. I was looking to be right in an argument. And I was looking to have people agree with me. What I've also learned, especially in my 20s, your single friends want to see you stay single. Okay? Your single friends love to party. Your single friends love to go out. They love to talk to people. They love interaction. They love that playing field. So if you're in a relationship and you have some friends that love to do all these stuff, they're not gonna have as much respect for your relationship as you do, because obviously they're not in it. Like, yes, there's still be a ground fundamental of like, this is your dude, this is your girl, I respect that. But at the end of the day, they're your friend and they see you as their friend. It's not all friends either, because a lot of my friends don't do this. But I have a very few select group of friends that love to party, love to go out, love whenever I like talk to people. Like they love that environment. But your single friends like to see you single. So they will say anything to keep you single. Like y'all get into an argument, oh, leave him. There's more options. There's more options. Here's what they don't tell you about the here's more options argument, right? Everyone's standards are different, and everyone has different morals and values. Yes, there are many options, but especially if like you're in a small town, or you're in a small city, or you're in a city like me where everyone knows each other, it's very hard to date, because you want someone that you find attractive. You want someone emotionally intelligent. You want someone that matches your humor. You want someone that has all these likelinesses, but also enough differences to talk about and converse on so that it's not boring. And it's hard to find what you like. You have to go through so much trial and error that can be self-deprecating at times in order to reach what you like. And I think that's a hard pill for some people to swallow. And I think it also has created this dilemma of loneliness in a lot of people, because it's like, yes, there's so many options, but then you have that mentality and then you become single. And whenever you become single and you're not just like messing around and you actually want to date, you realize it's actually a lot harder to find what you want than you thought it is. What is next to my routine? Blush. I feel like I'm not even explaining my makeup, I'm just like yapping. Why am I using this small mirror? What is this gonna do for me? Hold on. Oh, I need that still open. I have a bad habit of digging my finger into this blush every time I open it. Am I a beauty influencer? I need to flip the vinyl. Okay, I'm back. Another thing I wanted to talk about is I think a lot of relationships now have become transactional. So it's less about actually loving someone and more of what can like benefit you. And I think a lot of that can come from like, yeah, obviously the economy, what we're living in. It's like, oh, they provide this, they provide that, right? It's not like, oh, I genuinely like them for who they are. There's a difference between being compatible with someone and loving someone. And that's something I learned recently. Because, for example, me, right? I was in a 2-year situationship. Was never official. But we were very compatible. At least I thought so. We were very compatible. But we weren't in love. I thought I was in love, but I wasn't. I just liked the compatibility of it. I liked that we got along. I liked that it was easy. And I liked that there was someone always in my corner, but that connection kind of lacked. Which I was explaining to a friend recently. There's a big difference when it comes to like actually liking someone. Because it's like you get giddy, you get nervous. Like, at least for me, I'm a very extroverted person. I can talk to anyone. I can have a conversation about anything and everything. If I don't know something, educate me on it. I want to know about it. I want to know. I just like knowing. At least that's how I am. And whenever I genuinely like someone, I get nervous. I get quiet. Start second guessing myself, which I think it's innocent. I think it's nice to have that innocent type of feeling. None ripped out. I think there's a very clear difference on genuinely like someone and being compatible with someone. And I think you learn that with age, to be honest, because when you're younger, you just fall in love with anyone. Like, not anyone, but you fall in love so genuinely, so purely. And then as you get older, you start wanting certain things, you start needing certain things, and you start looking for what you want versus what you like. It's kind of hard to explain. Hopefully y'all understand what I'm trying to say. But I feel like as you become older, relationships become more transactional. But then I think for me, I reached like my mid-20s. I'm not even in my mid-20s yet, I don't think. I don't know, I'm 22. For me, I reached my mid-20s and I started dating again. And I was just like, oh, a lot of people have their lives together now. So it's no longer, I want this, either or kind of situation. It's like, oh, I genuinely have the opportunity to like someone again. And I know that's different for everyone. Maybe it's because how I grew up and how I was taught to perceive relationships as a certain way. But it took me until this year to be like, hey, I can like this person, genuinely like them, and they also can have these things that I want in life for my future. It's very hard to be in a relationship and do 100%. I don't think relationships are 50-50. To be honest, I think relationships are, if I can only put in 50, you can put in that other 50. If there's some days where I can only put in 80, where I put in 80 and you can only put in 20, then that's that. If we both put in 100, that's a great day. But I don't think relationships are 50-50. I think relationships are not making up what the other can't provide at that time, but being there for someone. Like, genuinely being there for someone and being like, I got you, don't worry. I'm here for you. I'm not gonna leave you because you're having a rough patch. Because everyone has rough patches. Okay, we're almost done. I just need to do mascara and lipstick, and I ran out of setting spray, so that's an issue for later me when I'm tweaking about my makeup not looking good. Also, I think another thing, when it comes to dating, don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to try things you've never done before. Don't be ashamed to go out of your comfort zone, because I think, especially dating new people that you didn't grow up with, you don't know these people. These people are strangers until you become no longer a stranger. So if they have a hobby that they really like, I think it's really important. I actually learned this growing up with my brother. Let me explain. That sounds weird. Let me explain. My brother would constantly ask me to do things He'd be like, can you play this with me? Can you play this with me? Like please. And I would be so like, I don't want to do that, to where I just didn't do it. And now that I'm older, I kind of regret it because I feel like I lacked out on that bond. And I kind of carried that into my relationships with me because it's like, whoa, this person really wants to do something. I just don't want to do it because I'm new to it. I need to open myself up and just not like stop limiting myself because I've never done it before, or I'm not comfortable. Of course, have your limits and have your, your limits. But if you've never gone hiking and then someone really likes hiking and you're just like, you're too afraid of like, oh, my makeup's gonna get cakey, I'm gonna get greasy, I'm gonna get ugly. Why? They already know what comes with hiking. They want you to go not because of how you look, but because they like you. Crazy, right? So don't be afraid to like try new things. Don't limit yourself because of insecurities or because of uncertainty, because I think the whole point of like your 20s is finding who you are, finding what you like, finding your boundaries, finding kind of everything. You're setting up your life so that you're set hopefully by 30 or mid 30s. I think I've seen it like with my parents, both my parents. It gets significantly harder to date once you reach like 35. And that's because, at least I've seen it more with my dad. Once you reach like that age, like my dad's 50 and he just turned 50. And he's just like, all these women have kids, they're always busy, they're always this, they're always that. And my parents had me young, like very young. Like my mom had me at like 17. So I'm already grown. I'll let y'all do the math on that. I don't want to explain that situation. I've seen it where it's just harder for the older generation to date because of that. But I think it's also chasing. I feel like when you're older, you also chase what you knew. You don't chase something new because I feel like when you get older, you kind of get stuck in your ways. And I'm hoping I don't get like complacent in that way, but I've seen it with multiple people. And I had this conversation with my mom of like, I won't get complacent. And I was so set on I won't get complacent that itself was a complacency. Because I was just so dead set on one mindset, and that itself is tunnel vision. And so back to the dating. They get so dead set on, oh, I want this. This is what I want. This is what I know works. To where they're scared of trying new things because they feel like they don't have that much life left. So they reach that point where they just want something that works if they haven't found it already. I also think forgiveness is a big thing. Ooh. I think forgiveness is a big thing. And I think now a lot of people are, I guess this ties back into there's many other people out there for you. But I think you shouldn't dislike something and immediately cut off a relationship. I think that's where conversation comes in. I'm looking for my pencil sharpener. I think that's where conversation and communication comes in. And you express that to your partner. And you tell them, hey, I don't like that. Hey, I don't appreciate you doing this. Hey, can we make a compromise? Because this or that, yada yada. I also use this for my lips. Where was I at? Forgiveness. I think forgiveness is needed, and that conversation is needed. I think, you can't set your boundaries all on the table at once because you don't know this person. You have to kind of let them develop as you get to know someone and have that conversation as it persists. I think a lot of people are willing to just give up something. I have this mindset of if you want something, you have to work for it. You have to build it. You have to communicate. But on that same note, you can't have communication without comprehension. If you're constantly like telling someone something bothers you and they keep doing the same thing over and over again, you expecting a different outcome is insanity. And that's just the truth. That's the literal definition of insanity. You can't keep having that conversation and expecting a different outcome, one. Two, if they can't comprehend what you're trying to communicate and you've already communicated it in multiple different forms, sometimes you have to dumb it down, sometimes you have to use different words and it's still not clicking, maybe y'all just aren't compatible. And maybe y'all have that feeling there, y'all have that connection, you have that love, but you're just not compatible, and that's okay. It's okay to try again. It's okay to get with other people. Just because you're comfortable with someone doesn't mean you have to stay. Because I think a lot of people also just stay for comfort. But just because you're comfortable doesn't mean you have to stay. I know it's scary to start over and it's scary to lose your routine with being with someone, because a lot of the time that's what it is. You're getting out of the routine of being with someone because you can hate someone and still be with them, but you don't want to leave because you've already built a life, you've already built stability, you've already built this, you've already built that. You're in the routine of seeing this person as many times as the week or whatever. But it's okay to start fresh. It's okay to be scared. It will be scary, actually. It will be very scary. And you'll have doubts in yourself, and you'll have doubts in other people, and you'll feel more jaded. but you can't put those expectations on other people. You can create boundaries and you can create standards of what you like and dislike, but you can't automatically assume everyone is like your ex, which is the most annoying thing. Don't assume things you don't know about people. Figure them out. Get to know them. Let me do my lip liner. Okay. I have like no iron in my body at all times, so you can never see my lips. They're always blue or pale. So this is my all-time favorite lip liner. Also, I don't know if this has been in focus the entire time. Anyways, and then I just go over it with a tinted chapstick. Do I look fancy? Nothing is coming out of there. Okay, this is where I put all my daily jewelry in this little thing that was a candle. The candle smelled horrid. But I simply just scooped it out and put in my jewelry. I've had a lot of controversial takes this video, and I know not everyone will agree, and I know, I don't know, a lot of people also aren't healed, and I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else or anything. I'm also not healed, and I'm also trying to find myself. But I think to acknowledge you're not healed is the first step in getting better. And I know that's kind of like cheesy, but you have to understand your flaws in order to achieve what you want to. In order to achieve what you want to. You can't have expectations for someone else when you aren't even respecting yourself. You have all these expectations for everyone else, but you don't even cherish yourself and care for yourself. And I think when I was younger, I thought it was kind of bullshit to be like, oh, if you can't love anyone if you don't love yourself. But the older you get, the more you realize that's true. You also can't expect other people. Let me make an example, right? Because I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but let me make an example. If you are making $15 an hour and you expect your partner to be making $100K a year, you don't want to get a job, you don't like a better job, you don't want to go back to school, you don't want to go to a trade school, you aren't starting a business, you're not doing anything else to benefit you other than living your day-to-day because you're stuck in that routine. You can't expect to have a partner that will give that to you, unless you get lucky, unless you get really lucky. I feel like you can't expect what you don't try to achieve yourself. And that's just my take on that. But vinyl is done. I'll figure out my hair when it's more dry. Drip is on. Did y'all like this TED Talk? I'm kind of just yapping to a screen right now. That's it. Bye. Oh, I'm Helika, by the way. Nice to meet you. My name's Helika. Good point.